Hello and welcome to Larissa's Kitchen. Today we're making French silk pie. Now those of you who remember Poppin' Fresh pie or later Baker Square will remember that this is the pie that made them famous. Now it's not the exact recipe, but it's close enough. The first thing we need for this French silk pie is a pre-baked pastry crust. Now I preheated my oven to 450 degrees and then eased a pie crust into this deep dish pie plate. It gets docked with a fork and covered with a double layer of aluminum foil. Then it goes into the oven for 6 to 8 minutes with the aluminum foil in place. You remove the aluminum foil after those 6 to 8 minutes and put it back in for another 4 to 8 minutes. You want it to have a golden hue to it, but we don't want it to be overcooked. There are hardly any ingredients for the filling for this French silk pie. We need 6 ounces of a good quality semi-sweet chocolate. Now I do like Ghirardelli best. 1/3 cup of sugar, 1/3 cup of butter. Now most butter sticks have a little measure on them for 1/3 cup. If not, it's 5 1/3 tablespoons. We're also going to need 1 cup of heavy whipping cream. Now this is going to go into this pan, come together and melt. We will eventually temper and add in 2 slightly beaten egg yolks and cook it a little bit longer. Then off heat we're going to add 3 tablespoons of cream de cocoa. Eventually this is going to have to go into an ice bath, so we're going to need a bowl that's big enough that this pan can fit down inside of it, but not so big that the handle is up and the pan tips and water can get inside. So let's get this all over to the stove and start cooking. Okay, we need to make sure that we're using a heavy bottom pan while we're heating this chocolate, and it needs to be heated over very low heat. Even with all these ingredients in here, it's still going to be possible to scorch our chocolate. We're also going to need to stir it as soon as this starts to melt, and we need to stir it pretty much continuously. Okay, this chocolate is nicely melted, so we're going to go ahead and add just a little bit of it into these eggs to temper these eggs. Then all of this is going back in here. Alright, now we need to stir this continuously until it thickens and bubbles. That's going to be about 5 minutes. Okay, I've turned up the heat to medium-low just to add a little extra heat to heat this up a little more quickly. Okay, that's starting to bubble and this is thickened up, so we're going to turn off the heat and add in our cream de cocoa. Alright, let's get this over to the ice bath. Okay, we've got this in this ice bath. Now we're going to leave it in here for 20 minutes to half an hour or so until it thickens up and it becomes difficult to stir. We're probably going to stir it every 5 to 10 minutes. Alright, this is getting pretty thick. It's almost there. Maybe another 5 minutes. Okay, so that this doesn't get all thick and gum up in my whisk, I'm going to go ahead and take this out now. Switch over to a spatula. Alright, we don't want any water from the outside of this pan to get into this chocolate mixture when we whip it. So that's why we take it out, put it on this towel, and we're going to dry off the outsides. Next, we need to get it into this mixing bowl. Okay, this is going in our mixing bowl, and we are going to whip this until, like the name says, it's fluffy and silky in texture. Then this is going to all go into our pie shell. Okay, let's get this into our pie shell. Alright, then we're just going to get this smoothed in. Okay, we're We're going to loosely cover this pie, and then it's going in the refrigerator for at least 5 hours. You could leave it in there overnight and serve it the following day. This is 1 cup of whipping cream that I've beat on high with 2 tablespoons of powdered sugar and 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. Now I'm using imitation vanilla extract here because it's clear instead of pure vanilla extract, which is brown, because it would change this color. I beat this to medium stiff peaks. We want to make sure we don't overbeat it or it will dry. So now we're going to go ahead and top this pie. We may not use all of this. We're getting ready to taste this pie. Now when I sliced it, I used my thinnest, sharpest blade, which was a fillet knife, and I also used a pie wedge to get the piece out. It's a little bit difficult, but once you master it, it's magical. So let's give this pie a taste. Smooth as silk. We're getting ready to taste this pie before the cat does.